Live from the 607, it's the Ocho Duro Parlay Hour, where we're talking everything going on in the world of sports. Join in the conversation on social media with the hashtag ODPH, because here we go.
Instead of looking deep inside, every word I have to say, keep it simple.
Welcome to an all-new edition of the ODPH podcast. What's happening, everybody? My name is Ken M. Joining me in studio, as always, you know him. He's the co-host. His name is Padawan J.
Let me talk to you.
Yeah.
Folks, just one quick thing. Yesterday's eclipse lasted 4 minutes and 28 seconds, which was longer than Aaron Rodgers played in the NFL last year. The more you know.
We are kicking off the sports show a little hot today, I see. And obviously we have a lot to talk about in the land of pro wrestling and some other big news and noteworthy sports stories going on in the pop culture landscape. So, Pad, after the show, where should everybody go to keep those conversations rolling?
ODPHpodcast.com.
Right on. Swing on over to the website. Sign up for all the social media accounts. Special shout out to everybody who's been following us on Threads.
Hey.
I know we've kind of mentioned about don't use the hashtag ODPHpod. We might have to start.
Maybe.
We have been picking up followers left and right, so thank you if you are following us on Threads. Definitely make sure you're interacting there as well as our other social media accounts. We definitely like having those conversations. Also, check out the TeePublic store. A lot of stuff is happening over there. So I always say if you want to go support the brand in that fashion, by all means. And I always encourage go check out when it's on sale. That's one thing. We are just happy that somebody wants to support us in that manner. So I say if you can get it for a little cheaper price, by all means, go do it. Also, speaking of supporting the brand, Patreon.
Mm-hmm.
So patreon.com/ODPH podcast, one tier, $2 a month, and you support the brand in that monetary fashion, and you get a little bonus content for being there. I know we don't promise it, but we always drop something in there for you, a little special. So have to think what we're going to do for this month, but if you're not, we will have something lined up, rest assured. Also on the website, check out the blog section where you have a lot of reviews dropping left and right. The directory. Pad, how many providers are we on?
613,979.
I do not question him. That is why he is the statistician to the stars. So if we're not on your favorite podcatcher, let us know, and we'll see about getting that hooked up for you, because that is what we tried doing. So
yeah.
Definitely shout out to everybody. Download numbers have been crazy lately, too. So thank you for that. Also on the website, check out the classified section, which has friends of the show such as 3FN Podcast, Dragon Master Games, Nerd Initiative. Changes are coming, my friends. So stay tuned for that. A lot of things are happening at the home of pop culture positivity. So you want to make sure you're signed up and keeping an eye on what's happening over there. Also, the music section of the show where you can find out such bands as Brian Wolf and the Howlers, Shout at the Robots, Tom Jolu, who's always killing it playing live. You get a chance to go see him. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. Second Suitor, Floodlands. The list goes on and on. Basically, if they are giving us music to play on the show, you can find out about what's going on with them, and there's live gigs and their albums and everything going on. There's so much at the website. Simply, we just say if it's anything and everything, this is the ODPH. You can find it at odphpodcast.com. And if you're on social media, use the hashtag ODPHpod. But like we said, we have a jam-packed sports edition of the show to kick off, and there was one event that dominated social media.
Holy smokes.
Dominated streaming.
Yeah.
And, Pad, what was that event?
That would be WrestleMania 40, which took place this past Saturday and Sunday. That would be April 6th and 7th, respectively. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, at the Lincoln Financial Field.
Yes, indeed. And it was setting record numbers on Peacock streaming.
Yeah.
So, I mean, let's break that down. What did it rank up there?
So, for Peacock, it was the most streamed entertainment event ever. And this is according to an article from Variety.com, which the article reads, quote, WrestleMania 40 is the most streamed entertainment event ever on Peacock, Variety has learned exclusively. Per the NBC Universal streamer, the two-night event at Lincoln Financial Field in Philadelphia was viewed for 1.3 billion minutes over the weekend of April 6th and 7th. Based on the average minute audience, night one of this year's show was up 26% over night one from last year, while night two was up 30% over last year. It was also the second biggest usage weekend for Peacock of all time, ranking only behind the NFL wildcard game and following day on January 13th and 14th. In addition, the Peacock special Bray Wyatt Becoming Immortal is the most viewed original sports WWE documentary through its first 7 days on the platform. The doc examined the life and career of Wyatt, who died suddenly in 2023 at just 36 years old, close quote.
Crazy.
That's insane.
Crazy numbers. But it goes to show about the reach that WrestleMania has.
Uh-huh.
Even if you're not a diehard pro wrestling fan, you can't escape it. It is a pop culture event.
Yeah.
Much in the same vein of the Super Bowl, the World Series, NBA championships, Final Four tourney.
Yeah.
There is an audience that tunes in just for this event, and especially in the pro wrestling landscape, where if you're not watching the program every week, you will tune in to watch this. It is a spectacle. It's the showcase of the Immortals. There's been a lot of hoopla going on with this, especially with one Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson coming back to the WWE for this and being a very, very big part of the show. So what we're going to be doing is breaking down the event. And, I mean, we can give a spoiler-free statement. We'll do it like the Entertainment Edition, Pad. And then after that, we're going to give you the countdown and dive right in. So, Pad, spoiler-free statement about WrestleMania 40.
I've seen 10 of these now live. I've said before, my first, WrestleMania I saw live was WrestleMania 30, so this was my 10th one. I'm making my way back through the old pay-per-views now, and I think I'm up to go. I just got done with WrestleMania 8. So I've seen total of them 18. But of the ones I've seen, this is the best one I've seen live, start to finish. Even the matches that weren't like, oh my God, that was incredible, I'm going to remember this forever. Like there were still matches that weren't the best thing of all time. They were still fun. They were still enjoyable. And the matches that blew my socks off in the best way possible. It would start to finish. The whole show was incredible.
We have to put something in a context, too. This is the first WrestleMania without one Vincent McMahon. So there was a lot of questions about what Paul Triple H Levesque would be doing now as a chief creative officer.
Right.
And what he's done since he has taken full control of the company, Vince is no longer part of TKO Endeavor by any stretch of the imagination because of reasons. We're not going to get into that.
All we can say is the dude is selling shares left, right, and center. He's not involved.
Correct. The eyes of the pro wrestling world and pop culture were waiting to see what Triple H was going to do here. And the setup had been Cody Rhodes, the former WWE star who left to form AEW, who came back, had been chasing after the world title held by Roman Reigns, who had the longest title reign in modern history of 1,316 days going into WrestleMania. So the storyline has been built there. They added Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson recently to the mix, and it has really taken the storyline to an entire whole new plateau.
Yes.
So that being said, the event had a lot of pressure on it, and it fully delivered. I think that even if you are somebody that has not watched the product like we have touched upon, you can jump in cold. You might not know truly everything going on, but just the pageantry that was taking place and really the payoffs from all the main events, all the matches. They had something for everybody, and it really made it into a special event. And then let alone if you've been watching WWE programming over the past year, you got a big payoff for a lot of storylines you've been invested in. And that's why we tune into pro wrestling. I mean, I know it's always referred to as a soap opera per se, but it's a very physical sport that does have a lot of cinema added to it.
The endings are scripted. The pain and damage done to their bodies is not.
Correct. But this was well worth it. This is arguably, I think, my favorite WrestleMania of all time.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
And I think from top to bottom, there's very few things I didn't like. But overall, I felt very satisfied spending the time with the watch party crew that we had here at the ODPH studios and really just enjoying the event and just talking with everybody online too. Like, it's one of the rarities we have now that for all the toxicity that comes with pro wrestling social media, and unfortunately there is some. This was one of the weekends that I didn't experience that much. And it was very nice to just talk to fans and have that interactions and be very positive about it. And it's something I really miss on social media. So
I do too.
hopefully this will open up the doors for more of that. But why are we talking about that? Because we have to talk about the matches, and maybe that'll kind of spark a little conversation with you as well, wherever you're listening or watching us from. So, and that being said, Pat, in 3, 2, 1, let's talk about night one, shall we?
Yeah, so we're going to talk about night one, which had the announced attendance of 72,543, which, Christ, that's a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
It's a lot of damn people.
A lot of people from all over the world, too.
Yes.
We want to emphasize.
Yes.
Not everybody was from Philadelphia there.
This is true. But they opened night one with a singles match for the Women's World Championship, with Rhea Ripley defending her belt against Becky Lynch, and Rhea emerged victorious, retaining her belt via pinfall in 17 minutes and 5 seconds.
Couple of things we have to factor in about this. One, Becky Lynch was very sick.
Yes, she was.
During the strep throat.
Strep throat, fever of 102, I think they said.
Mm-hmm. So technically, she probably should not have even been wrestling.
Yeah.
But it's WrestleMania, and this is a situation of where Rhea Ripley is now is where Becky Lynch was a couple of years ago.
Agreed.
And when you transcend that level of just pro wrestling to pop culture,
yep,
it's a very cool thing to see, and seeing how Becky is now seeing Rhea transcend to that level is a very cool moment. The match has a very solid background to it, so the story was there. When Rhea came out with Motionless and White playing her in,
that was awesome.
That was the perfect way to start the show.
Their song they did for her entrance is the only song I've heard by that band ever. Because listen, if you're a fan of them, that's fine. Not my cup of tea, but I like that song. You know, to see them play her out, which I know is something she's wanted for a couple of years now, but to get it done and just see her coming down to the, standing there singing with the lead singer and then going down to the ring and yelling / singing, it would look like it was a mixture of both, while looking at the fans, and you could just see the joy on her face, this is the greatest thing I've ever done. And it was amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm a big fan of them. So I was super excited to see them play her out.
Yeah.
And just to see her reaction to it, when somebody has the idea of they're a star. Rhea knew it.
Yep.
And Rhea knew in that moment, and she was enjoying the moment, and so were the fans.
Oh, my God, yeah.
And it's when you have that happen, something really magical happens.
Yeah.
And we had a great match. Might have been a little shorter than expected, but obviously with Becky's ailments going on, completely understand.
Yeah.
The ending, not a super shock. Just where she goes from here, that's going to be the big question with Rhea retaining.
Yeah, I fully anticipated this match would have gone longer had Becky not been sick. But anybody who's ever been any level of sick, especially when you're talking strep throat and you've got a fever of 102, Fahrenheit, which, Celsius, figure that out, whatever it is for Celsius. That's a level of sick that you just want to lay in bed all day with either your TV or a tablet and watching Netflix all day because just everything hurts.
Yeah.
And you're just so uncomfortable. There's no possible way, you can just see, all right, I'm good. I got my water or Gatorade, whatever it is you want to hydrate yourself with. I got my blanket. I got my, entertainment. I'm just going to sit here, veg, and recover.
Yeah.
There's just no level of that when you hit a fever of 102. So the fact that she even made it to WrestleMania, and wrestled a full, 17-minute match, kudos to Becky.
Oh, yeah, completely. So where she's going from here, I don't know.
I don't know.
I think all signs might point to her and Jade Cargill down the
could
road.
see it, yeah.
I could see her and Bianca Belair, though, first.
Yeah.
And that's a great rivalry to set up, and really will steal the show any night it's on.
Well, and the thing, early tease for when we talk Monday Night Raw, we're going to be in a little bit of a holding pattern for the next couple of weeks, but we'll get to that once we get to Monday Night Raw.
True.
Next up was the six-pack tag team ladder match for the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, and what we thought last week was the case. Both sets of titles had to be retrieved for the match to end, and no, the same team didn't need to retrieve both belts. You could, but you didn't have to. And the participants of this were the Judgment Day and Finn Balor and Damian Priest defending their belts against DIY, The New Day, Awesome Truth and The Miz and R-Truth. And then from SmackDown, you had A-Town Down Under with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And then New Catch Republic and Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate. And so retrieving the SmackDown titles was a surprise to me. A-Town Down Under and Austin Theory. And then after that was, of course, by this point we figured it, everybody figured it. This was probably the easiest pick of the night for both nights. Winning the Raw Tag Team titles was the Awesome Truth in The Miz and R-Truth. In total, the match lasted 17 minutes and 25 seconds.
This was everything we wanted it to be.
Agreed.
Tag team wrestling is a very forgotten art form.
Yes.
And Triple H has really made a point to bring that and the mid-card titles back to prominence.
Uh-huh.
And doing separate belts here for both shows is
Right.
is a very big win.
Yes. I mean, the unification made sense for the story.
Sure.
And then even doing it when the Judgment Day held up, okay, that made sense. But like, it became very obvious once they gave Roman the bright and shiny new belt. That was like, oh, you don't have to carry two around anymore. You just have the one, and they just kept carrying the two. I'm like, all right, so at some point we're going to split these up.
And it makes total sense too.
Yeah.
Especially being on different platforms. Obviously, we know Raw is going to Netflix.
Yep.
SmackDown is coming to USA
Yep.
/ NBC Universal.
Well, and the nice thing too with them being split up is you don't have to hold, a number one contenders tournament every 6 weeks or so to figure out who's going to do it. You can do natural progressing storylines, to figure out who's going to get the next shot at the titles.
Right. So this match was everything we wanted it to be.
I'll be honest, this match for me, taking out the main event, because the main event's a whole different ball of wax.
Sure.
This was my favorite match of the night, just because A-Town Down Under really did their own thing, and so did Awesome Truth. But it's like the rest of them between DIY, New Day, and New Catch Republic just went, all right, we know we're not winning, so fuck it, let's just put on a show and steal things. I mean, Christ, the move Gargano did, taking whoever it was from New Catch Republic down through the table on the floor.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Like Tommaso Ciampa going off the ladder with the other dude from New Catch Republic. Just insanity from start to finish with this match.
And that's what they needed to be.
Yeah.
I think for everybody involved, they really wanted to make their presence felt. And this is a WrestleMania moment, and every performer on the show is going to get up for it. So the only thing that I said was a surprise was A-Town Down Under winning. I thought that maybe Pretty Deadly would sneak in, or we'd have a mystery tag team like
Well, and
the
there was
Guns.
there was that speculation and rumors that like, oh, A-Town Down Under might get replaced.
Yeah. So I'm happy to see they didn't.
Yeah.
Though. They're a fun tag team.
It's going to be real interesting to see what they can do because they're already very good heels. Austin Theory's an incredible heel.
Yeah.
And Grayson Waller is close. He's good, but he's close to being great, at least in my opinion.
Just put them in a faction with Logan Paul.
Oh, Christ, the internet will hate him.
That's exactly the point.
But no, so giving them these belts, and that means they're going to be featured even more, is going to give them really time to develop. And I'm excited to see what they can do with these belts.
Same. And Awesome Truth is great to see R-Truth
Oh, my God,
get
yeah.
a WrestleMania win.
Yeah, I've been with the company for how long?
20 years.
Yeah, 20 some odd years. Good for him.
Yeah, I know. It feels longer, and it might be too.
Brought his own red carpet I saw the next day on the Pat McAfee show.
Oh, yeah. But you know what? It was perfect. It was a fan moment that everybody wanted, and nobody's going to forget.
Next up was a tag team match between the LWO and specifically Rey Mysterio and Andrade. Obviously, Carlito, Cruz del Toro, Joaquin Wilde, and Zelina Vega were all down there at ringside, taking on Santos Escobar and Dirty Dominic Mysterio with Angel, Berto, and Elektra Lopez at their ringside, and winning via pinfall in 11 minutes and 5 seconds. With a little bit of help was the team of the LWO and Rey Mysterio and Andrade.
I got to admit, this was probably my least favorite match of the night, but it wasn't a bad match.
Agreed.
This is something that this really had no deep storyline built in.
This is the match we said last week was like kind of just thrown together. Felt like they needed to fill some time. I know I said it felt like it hadn't built to that point where we needed a match at a pay-per-view yet. But I'm like, oh, all right, fine. We're giving these folks an opportunity on a pay-per-view. I'm fine with it.
Yeah, no, that's what it served a great purpose for.
Yeah.
Because when you get, wrestlers want to be on WrestleMania. You can't tell me anybody who never wants to be on a WrestleMania.
Yeah. I mean, this match for me was, like I said, was fine. It didn't blow me away. It wasn't until Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson showed up at the end.
Yeah.
In luchador mask, and I'm like, all right, this is good now.
Yeah, I mean, it was a fun ending. I mean, like I say, for being in my opinion, it was a throwaway match.
Yeah.
It worked. It worked what it needed to do.
Yeah. Next up was a singles match between Jimmy Uso and main event Jey Uso. And you had Jey Uso win via pinfall in 11 minutes and 5 seconds.
Well, they did a solid lead into this match.
Yeah.
I mean, Triple H took their time, took the Usos' time about getting together, and having this grudge match, which they have both wanted to do for years.
Uh-huh.
So the fact they got to do it on this stage, no real surprise here. You know, Jey Uso, I was expecting maybe would fall victim to the curse of the family, so to speak.
So did I. Yeah.
But this was a solid match for what it needed to do. Obviously, there's big things in line for Jey moving forward.
Oh, yeah.
And for Jimmy will be fine.
Yeah.
I think for anybody that was kind of worried that they'd have nothing left for him after, he'll be fine.
We'll see what happens.
SmackDown will be very interesting this week, and I have some thoughts before, obviously, we'll close out this segment.
I mean, if I had to rank the matches, this one for me was probably, I'd rank at the bottom. But it's not like it was the worst match of all time.
No, but they were off on a little bit of timing, too,
Yeah.
and I think you can tell the nerves got to them.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of like similar set of match or moves because, hey, they're brothers. They do the same moves. You know, nothing really blew me away. They didn't pull anything out, a la Sammy, which we'll get to in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Where I'm like, holy shit, we haven't seen that from them before, or haven't seen that in a while. The match was fine. You know, I enjoyed it. It was what it was. You know, Jimmy will be fine. Jimmy, like you said, the telling point's going to be Friday on SmackDown.
Yeah, exactly.
Next up was a 6-women tag team match where you had Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi defeat Damage Control and Dakota Kai, Asuka, and Kairi Sane via pinfall in 8 minutes and 5 seconds.
Absolutely love this match.
This match was great.
Yeah, this was a great presentation, especially for Jade Cargill making her debut at WrestleMania. This was something that we really were excited to see play out.
Yeah.
And I thought they did a great job about telling the story here, too.
Yes.
Because this was all about taking out Damage Control, and when Jade got in, really stole the match.
Uh-huh.
So I'm excited to see where we're heading after this.
Yeah.
And obviously, Damage Control did not have a great weekend.
No, they did not.
We'll get into that a little bit later.
Next up was a singles match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship, and you had Sami Zayn end the historic reign of Gunther, winning via pinfall in 15 minutes and 30 seconds.
I am just going to say,
yeah,
Brain Buster.
Brain Buster.
I about freaked out about this.
There's no about freaked out. You did freak out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you know Sami Zayn's time in the Indies, he had always done a Brain Buster.
Uh-huh.
And it's the most magical move that WWE would never allow him to do before.
Because it was on the banned move list, from what I understood.
Yeah. So this will be something that we want to see a little bit more of. I don't think we will.
Yeah, no, something tells me it's not going to get started you put in regular rotation, weekly.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes time for a special moment, a la you're ending a 666-day title reign, okay. Yeah, you can use one.
And especially the storyline, too, is Sami Zayn is the ultimate underdog.
Mm-hmm.
He shouldn't have never been in the match.
Yeah.
And
somebody at WWE was clearly listening to this show.
Oh, yeah.
Because you saw the shirt, right?
Oh, I definitely saw the shirt.
Uh-huh.
Listen, if you guys want to hook us up with a couple of interviews or maybe some tickets, we can work something out. We don't mind. We'll keep it under the table.
For those of you who don't know, I've been saying for weeks now that the Sami Zayn Gunther, and we'll add Chad Gable into this, is Rocky 3.
Mm-hmm.
Sami Zayn. So Sami Zayn wins the match. His wife is there at ringside. Beautiful moment before the match, by the way.
Yeah.
With his son and his wife. Kevin Owens is there to hype him up before he goes out there. So then his wife gets escorted down to ringside, and she's there for the match. So after the match is over, he goes and hugs her and has a moment with her and the title, a la Rocky.
Mm-hmm.
Pick whichever one you want. So then they come out with the shirt afterwards with his wife's name on it. Yo, I did it.
Yeah.
With him holding the belt. And I'm like, yeah, so clearly someone's listening to the show.
Yeah. So shout out to whoever it is, just shoot us a DM.
Yeah.
Well, we can talk off air. It'll be fine. No, this match was everything it needed to be.
This match was the best story of the night.
Yeah, obviously the best feel-good moment too.
Yeah.
Sammy winning. I mean, like I say, I would have rather seen Chad Gable in the spot, but I get it.
Yeah.
And now Gable is kind of a little very, what we're going to talk about a little later too. Gable is now set to face Sammy in Montreal.
Oh, yeah.
Next week. Which
what happened last time Sammy lost in Montreal.
And I have a feeling we're going to be saying and new as well, which, listen, is fine. Completely fine. I think Chad Gable getting the big win, that'll be more than enough to get a new storyline going.
Yep. And then in the main event of night one, you had the Bloodline in The Rock and Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman, taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins. Of course, the stipulation was this: if Cody and Seth win, 1-on-1, no interference, har, har, har. In night 2 for the main event there. But if Rock and Roman win, it's bloodline rules, a.k.a. anything goes. And, of course, as we all expected, winning via pinfall in 44 minutes and 35 seconds was the team of the bloodline in Rock and Roman Reigns.
Yeah. No real shocker here.
The shocker was the length of the match. It did not feel 45 minutes.
No, they told a great story. I mean, this is what Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson came back for, him and Roman, involved with Seth and Cody and the storyline there.
Yeah.
They did a great job about pacing this out and really giving a lot of false finishes.
Yep.
And by the time we got to the end of this, I mean, we knew this was going to be the way it was going to end.
I think everyone figured Rock and Roman were going to win.
Yeah.
But damn it, did they do a really good job in selling me the possibility that, hey, you know what? There's a chance Cody and Seth could pull this out. Because there was a stretch there. I thought they might do it. Because listen, even if Cody and Seth won, I was under no delusions that the bloodline was going to adhere to the rules and not interfere. You know, this is how they operate. It's their MO. You know, but so kudos to the producers and the writers and everybody else behind the scenes in setting this matchup, in selling me, you know, a veil of disguise, I guess.
Yeah. No, it worked out perfectly.
Yeah.
And it really set the tone for night 2.
Yeah.
And obviously there's a lot to break down there.
So night 2 took place in front of 72,755 people was the announced attendance for a combined, this number's insane, 145,298 people over the course of the 2 days. That's fucking ridiculous. But night 2 opened up with the World Heavyweight title match between Seth freaking Rollins taking on Drew McIntyre, and winning via pinfall in 10 minutes and 30 seconds was Drew McIntyre. And, of course, who was ringside for this on commentary? CM Punk. And he was good. You know, it was enjoyable. And, of course, after the match was over, as we all predicted, because, hey, for as much as Drew was saying, Seth, you're just too obsessed and enamored with the bloodline story. You're too focused on it. You can't take your eyes off it. You're too distracted by it. Drew was just as distracted and just as enamored with CM Punk. Because Punk was, if you go back and watch, he was giving him his, if you were in attendance, you know, go watch this match. Because if you were in attendance, you didn't hear this. Punk was giving him his flowers. He says, hey, I'm not going to take anything away from him. He won the match. He won it fair and square. He won it clean. And Drew came over and started gloating. And started shit talking. And then said, because it was kind of hard to hear because the crowd was really getting loud and the mics couldn't pick it up. But then he said, hey, you know, when you come back, I'm going to end your career. And started talking some real ish to Punk, and Punk took exception to that. Pulled him off the table. Pulled him onto the table, I guess you could say. McIntyre fell, hit his head. Punk then took his brace off of his arm, started beating him with it. And then, Ken, whose music hit?
Damian Priest.
As we all predicted, Damian Priest came out, cashed in his Money in the Bank briefcase. I love the fact that the ref didn't go, wait, you want to do what now?
Yeah.
You sure about this? You want to, like, go back and watch. I think it was Carmella when she cashed in, and Mike Chioda was the ref, and he was like the most confused person I've ever seen in existence. You'll know what I mean. But no, Damian Priest cashed in and defeated Drew McIntyre via pinfall in 9 seconds to become your new World Heavyweight Championship champion, and is also the first, wrestler of Puerto Rican descent to be champion in WWE since Pedro Morales.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's awesome to see Damian Priest get the belt. I mean, we've been waiting for it for quite some time now.
The dude was like, I remember when he first debuted and showed up on NXT. And I'll admit, I just did not care for the character. I did not care for the presentation. I'm like, I just don't get this. And it was when he won the North American title, I think it was what it was. And there was that photo of him getting the point from Triple H, but he's in the hot tub with, you know, the two other folks around him. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm starting to get this. And then he really started to find it.
Yeah.
And started to really click and groove. And I'm like, all right, I'm starting to dig this and get into this.
Yeah, he's always had that ability, and now I think, especially with Vince gone, like Triple H has just let him be him. Yeah. And it's really shined through. And you can definitely tell the company has had faith in him. I mean, they put him in the match with Bad Bunny.
Yeah.
So if you're questioning about, like,
Bad Bunny at least twice.
Yeah, where his stock is, Damian Priest is very, very highly valued on there. I mean, the big takeaways from here, one, it was amazing to see Drew McIntyre win in front of a live crowd.
Yeah.
I
He
think
got his
that-
moment
I
for
think-
all of 5 minutes.
Still, though, I think for where he was, unfortunately, at the time as champion,
Yeah.
I mean, during the pandemic, and it could not have live crowds.
Yep.
It's, winning the belt is cool, but you want that crowd reaction. You want that
Yeah.
pop.
I mean, he technically had a crowd, but it was, cast and crew.
Right.
So it wasn't much.
It's not much, but in that moment, it was enough
Yeah.
that, I'm sorry for being in Philly. Like, it wasn't a lot, but
Yeah.
he got that moment. Which,
I mean, plus the thing of it is he's a heel, but like the thing with not Priest, McIntyre is the chase.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's at his best when he's just the ultimate shit talker, the ultimate shit poster on whatever platform you choose. He's second to none when it comes to just causing nonsense online.
yeah. So,
The man tweeted mid-match.
yeah,
Come on, it's amazing.
it is incredible. But to see him, like I say, to get that reaction
Yeah.
and get his flowers
Yeah.
was very cool. The setup with Punk worked out perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
That's great storytelling.
Yep.
And then Priest cashing in is everything we were waiting on.
Yeah.
And especially now, he has a very interesting number one contender for his title.
Yeah, he does.
And definitely through a lot of the rumors going around that Drew McIntyre was going to take over Judgment Day and Priest was going to become a face. Like, I like they kept the storyline as it is.
Yep.
And definitely a great way to start off night 2.
Yeah. Next up was a Philadelphia street fight between the Pride with Bobby Lashley, Angelo Dawkins, and Montez Ford, who also had BFAB in their corner, taking on the Final Testament, which had Karrion Kross, Akam, and Razor from AOP, with Scarlett and Paul Ellering in their corner. This one had a special guest referee because how the hell can you do something extreme in Philly without someone extreme? And they had Bubba Ray Dudley as special guest referee for this match. And winning via pinfall in 8 minutes and 35 seconds was the Pride. This match was fun.
This was fun. Like
was fun.
Like I say, this had no real build up to it. I mean, they've been feuding for quite some time. This got everybody on the show.
Yeah, no, I mean, this match for me, am I going to remember it in, the halls of greatest WrestleMania matches ever? No. But when I inevitably get here in 145 years with my rewatch or watch through of all the pay-per-views, am I going to come up to it and go, oh, right, I remember this. This is a lot of fun. Yes.
Yeah, and that's all it really needed to be. And it did what it did what it had to do. Honestly, I really am interested to see where we go from here. Because obviously the feud is over.
Yeah, you would think.
But Karrion Kross had a great post-match interview backstage. It was one thing they released online, and he was completely in heel mode. And he's like, "Yeah, I deserve what I got because what I've done in ECW." And it kind of alluded to like some of the stuff.
I
in
mean,
the
listen,
indies.
he learned a lesson the hard way. Don't piss off Bubba Ray to the point where he needs to put his glasses on.
Yeah, well, they kind of alluded to it a little bit, but it was more not so much ECW because I don't believe he was in the ECW.
I don't think so.
But it was more about his time on the Indies, referenced a little bit with Tommy Dreamer. And then he took a shot on the way out the door against Bobby Lashley. He said, how does it feel that your WrestleMania moment was outshined by Montez Ford?
Ooh, I didn't see this video.
Yeah, it's worthwhile just for that line because of how he
Shots
delivers.
fired.
Yeah, how he delivers it.
Shots fired.
And I'm wondering if that's going to be the play now that Lashley allegedly has made some online comments about the current status in WWE for him. Allegedly, I've not got a chance to read the article,
Right.
but I did see a couple headlines, so I want to check that first before I comment. But if that's the case, I wonder if this is all going to tie in together and we see their trio break up on Friday night.
Could be. Next up was a singles match with L.A. Knight
Yeah.
defeating AJ Styles via pinfall in 12 minutes and 25 seconds.
AJ has new music.
It's awful.
Yeah.
Oy.
I mean, at first listen, not sold on this.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I mean, I wasn't sold on DIY's new music. Is it as good as their old stuff? No, but it's grown on me a little bit. First listen through on AJ's music, though, yikes.
Yeah, not exactly for us, but if you like it, I mean, sure. I mean, like I say, it might grow on me, but as a first listen, no. This match did everything it needed to do. I mean, LA Knight needed the win more than AJ. He was in a marquee match. I think for anybody that's really questioning about where he is right now in the company, I still think we're going to get him and Logan Paul for the U.S. title.
Could be.
I think that that's going to be the direction we go in now.
Could be.
as of Friday, unless they want to try setting up Logan versus Randy solo, or do something, tying off this match.
Right.
I think that's where they're going in the future. I think that LA Knight got the big win and now needs to be heading towards a singles title.
You would think. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see just because, SummerSlam would make a lot of sense. They got a couple pay-per-views in between now and then. Obviously, Backlash in France is coming up on May the 4th. Then you've got King and Queen of the Ring, which was announced during the show. That is taking place in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, May 25th. Then you've got, that's NXT Battleground. Then you've got Clash at the Castle, which was announced during the week last week. That's taking place June 15th in Glasgow, Scotland. Then you've got Money in the Bank, which is taking place in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. That's an NXT card. And then you've got SummerSlam, which is taking place in Cleveland. So it might be a little workaround, a little bit of a couple matches to get there, but we could get there with LA Knight.
Yeah.
And Logan Paul.
I think that's the course we're going to go. So
Could be.
we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, there's a couple more things at play.
Yeah.
So wait and see. ...
Speaking of Logan Paul, he was next up in a triple threat match for the WWE United States Championship, defending his belt against Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. And winning via pinfall was Logan Paul in 17 minutes and 40 seconds, although it was with some shenanigans. The streamer iShowSpeed was there. He got RKO'd by Randy onto a table. That was hilarious.
Yeah, that was a little wild.
I read speculation. People were guessing it was Mr. Beast. I think that would have been better than iShowSpeed because I think a lot more people would have recognized him. But hey, is what it is. But no, the match was fun.
It needed to be a showcase for Logan Paul, and they did.
Yeah.
And they had two great dance partners with him.
Yeah.
I was expecting Randy Orton to win this because I think they want to get Logan Paul starting to go towards the world title.
Right.
But him as champion is still a good thing. So interesting to see how his trajectory goes from here.
Yeah, it continues to get better. Then was the singles matchup for the WWE Women's Championship with Io Sky defending her belt against Bayley. And winning via pinfall in 14 minutes and 20 seconds is your new women's WWE Women's Champion, and that is Bayley.
Yeah, this was a fun match.
This was good.
Yeah, really like this one. Obviously, the storyline had been built up that Io Sky and Damage Control turned their backs on Bayley.
Yep.
Bayley wins the Royal Rumble. There's tension there. She's now kicked out of the group. She's on her own. This was a fun match. I like how that even though Paramore was not there, that they did the video, whatever song Bayley wanted to come out to, they did it for the video vignette.
Yep.
So that was a cool moment to see. And Bayley getting her big WrestleMania win.
Yeah.
Somebody had mentioned that she's never been in a singles match on Mania.
I'd have to look.
If that is, hit us up on that hashtag ODPH pod. If that is true, that is wild to me. That she's never been in a singles match. I could have swore she has been. But if it's been tag team matches, I mean, that is what it is.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, she wins the title, has a big reaction from the Philly crowd. Perfect moment for her. And now, well, we get interesting.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure where she goes for a new number one contender, so to speak.
Well, I think it's going to end up being a tournament. We'll tease the lead a little bit here because we know the draft is coming up at the end of the month. It could be very well a holding pattern until this start of what would be next month, May. Just because they announced the draft is going on the end of April, it could just be a couple random matches here and there.
Yeah, so we'll just have to really wait to see how this plays out.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, though, we got one more big match to talk about.
We do, and this was the one everyone was here for. This was a Bloodline Rules match for the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. Cody Rhodes taking on the champ, as you alluded to earlier in the segment, for 1,316 days. Roman Reigns with Paul Heyman in his corner. Could Cody finish the story? Could he come back all the way from losing at WrestleMania 39 and win the belt? And boy, this match... Got to tell you what, early match of the year candidate for me because this match was indeed Avengers Endgame. You're going on through the match, and obviously you're going to have the run in Bloodline Rules. Anything goes. Here comes Jimmy Uso. Oh, wait, he's kicking the shit out of Cody. Hold on a minute. Here comes Jey Uso. Takes out Jimmy in the most freakish way possible. Dove off the ramp onto a set of tables. Holy shit.
Yeah, that was a wild spot.
So then you had Solo Sikoa come in. Really start, Solo Spike. gave him the spike without, took out Cody. Oh, come on, get up, finish him, finish the story, end his story. And whose music hits? Cena. Cena comes out, attitude adjustment to Solo, puts him through the table. In the words of Corey Graves, was rearranging furniture out there.
Mm-hmm.
Then whose music hit? The final boss.
Yep.
We got to see one of the greatest, or two of the greatest, WrestleMania main events stand face to face again for the first time in, over 10 years. The Rock and John Cena. The Cena tried to attack Rock. Rock got one up on him, and Rock bottomed him. Told him to get the hell out of his ring. Starts talking all that type of trash. Then whose music hit? Well, that'd be the Shield.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That'd be the Shield, because we're like, holy shit, what's going on? Part of me thought Moxley was going to come running in, that they'd agreed for something, but no, it wasn't. It was Seth in his Shield gear, tried to take out The Rock, but Roman intercepted him, speared him, stopped him. And then we're standing there, Rock's talking trash and all this other. Then we hear a certain gong we're all familiar with. Undertaker comes in.
Yep.
And everyone's going, oh my fucking God. Lights drop. Lights come back on. There's Undertaker huffing and puffing, trying to look all mean behind the Rock. Rock freaks the fuck out. Choke slam to Rock. Lights go out. Gong. Lights come back up. Rock is gone. So what did I say a year ago had to happen for Roman to lose? You had to take out everyone from the bloodline.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Uso lying in a heap on a table at the ramp. Solo Sikoa lying on the floor in the middle of the announce table. Rock, I don't know where the fuck he went. Undertaker chokeslammed his ass and he disappeared. Paul Heyman, not a factor. Paul Heyman, listen, no disrespect to the Hall of Famer, not exactly a threat when it comes to attacking.
Mm.
But Roman was standing in the ring by himself. And at this moment, he grabbed a chair and he had a choice. And this is what ultimately cost him the match. He could have hit Cody with that chair and really just decapitated and ended the whole thing right there. But because, hey, bloodline rules, anything goes. Can't stop him. As we saw night one with The Rock threatening to fire the ref, if he started counting to 10, could have hit Cody, could have ended the whole thing right there. But no, couldn't forgive Seth for the past and what he did, and he chose to hit Seth. And it allowed Cody to pick up the win and become your new Universal Champion, and he finished the story.
You want to talk about long-term storytelling?
Oh.
It's Seth and Roman.
Uh-huh.
And the Shield still haunts Roman Reigns to this day.
And if you can find a video of the side-by-side, Roman hits Seth, different part of the ring, but still, hits him in the exact same way Seth hit him all those years ago. And you could see Seth tried to fall in the same way Roman did, just he didn't fall far enough forward.
Yeah.
It's poetic.
It was perfectly done.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing that no matter what, it will drive Roman crazy.
Yeah.
That even with all the success he's had, it still comes back to the
Seth.
Shield. And if, I would say, if things were different currently between AEW and WWE, there might have been a chance Moxley could have came.
I could have seen it for
Might
one
have
night.
been.
For one night for his buddies, yeah.
Obviously,
things are not in that space.
that's not going to be happening because of why, Pad? But I digress. If they pulled that off, it would have been huge.
Oh, my God.
And it would have been the moment that everybody had been talking about.
I thought for a second, like, oh, shit, Moxley could come out. I'm like, wait a minute, Moxley probably not going to come out. He's with AEW. And then I'm like, oh, wait a minute, Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle was in the Shield for one night.
Well, I mean, they could have gone many, many different routes with this.
Yeah.
But I think you hit it right on the head, though. I mean, for Roman to be defeated, they needed to take the entire bloodline out.
Which is what I've been saying for over a year.
Mm-hmm. And they took Jimmy out with Jay.
Mm-hmm.
Solo being there with Cena makes perfect sense. They had the match at Crown Jewel. So, obviously, there's story there.
Yep.
The Rock and Cena has had a history.
Yeah, they have.
All its own.
It's well documented.
Undertaker showing up was a surprise, and I know that there's a lot of fans that were questioning that, saying it should have been Stone Cold Steve Austin. Look,
I agree with you, sure, but there were teases.
There's teases, but at the end of the day, it didn't need to be Austin.
No.
It would have been great.
It would have been great,
but
yeah.
you still have equal value with The Undertaker.
And if you're sitting there going, well, what were the teases? Well, remember, night one, during the tag match, The Rock at one point, which I don't think I've ever seen him do this, did The Undertaker slash across his neck with his thumb.
Mm-hmm.
And then they referenced, I can't remember, I think it was night one, Michael Cole mentioned that with this match, The Rock joined The Undertaker as the only superstar to wrestle at WrestleMania in 4 different decades.
Could be.
90s, 2000s, 2010s, and the 2020s.
Yeah, I don't doubt that to be true.
Yeah.
That's, to be honest with you, that quite possibly could happen.
Because the only other one I can think of, it's not Stone Cold. Stone Cold only did it in the 90s, the 90s, and then the 2020s.
Mm-hmm.
And then Hulk Hogan is only 3 decades.
Yeah.
So the plants were there. The little seeds were there.
Yeah.
Plus, I like the idea of Taker's retired. Taker's not going to do any more matches. But when it comes time for a story, if he's like, the evil angel, I don't want to say devil, but like the evil figure that like comes in and sets shit right when the things are out of balance, I'm all right with that.
Well, the thing about him is, Rich from 3FN pointed this out too, off air. He is the true final boss of WWE.
Yeah, he is.
So it makes sense for him to take out Rock.
Yeah.
I can't argue that.
No,
I really can't. I mean,
no.
Austin would have been cool, but I'm not mad about seeing Taker there.
Right.
Especially Triple H wants to throw fans off. If we knew everything that was going to happen, would we have enjoyed it as much?
Right.
Debatable. But at the end of the day, we got the win that we've all been waiting for.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was the right time to do the title change. The fans,
I agree.
The fans would not, I think, have been as receptive if they waited to do it at Madison Square Garden, which was rumored.
You would have really pissed off a lot of fans and ruined a lot of good faith you had built up since Triple H took over because, and I know various folks, I've Cody and others said this in the days leading up to Mania. These fans have been on the ride for the last year, and at a moment where we were all at our most despondent and like, fuck, what the hell are we going to do? Like, we're really going to have to sit through another year of Roman being title holder. We were like, hey, all right, you know what? Let's sit here. Let's let it play out. Let's see it happen. If they'd have gone the other route just for the sake of having Roman, get to SummerSlam or whatever it is and beat Hogan's record for title reign, it would have pissed a lot of people off.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that, we sat here, we waited the year, we watched Cody get his shit kicked in for 12 months, and to finally see him summit the mountain, and have his Avengers Endgame moment where it looked at its most desperate and he got help was one of the best moments I've seen on TV.
Oh, yeah. No, it completely capped off everything. It was an emotional night. I know fans were crying.
Yeah.
I know we were all definitely in our emotions here.
Yeah, we were.
Not going to lie about it. I have been so invested with the storyline to see it finally happen. It was just it almost felt surreal.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to describe it.
Yeah.
But for somebody, especially on Cody's story, which he connects with so many fans, it was truly storytelling at its highest level.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because listen, he's not the most charismatic superstar of all time. He's certainly not in the category of like a Ric Flair, Stone Cold, or even a Rock in terms of charisma. But God damn it, he's relatable. Because we've all felt at some point of time where, we don't feel appreciated. We do feel, like nobody wants us around, and that our work isn't appreciated. And we can relate to that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, I mean, perfect way to cap off WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Night after WrestleMania did not really have a lot of things going on per se.
No, I mean, the opening segment, our first hour of the match was the Cody celebration hour.
Yeah, which...
Hell of a flex. They announced there was... So, the couple of things they announced, they said that the NXT Stand and Deliver that took place Saturday was the biggest audience they've had for an NXT Stand and Deliver. The Friday Night SmackDown was the largest Friday Night SmackDown gate in SmackDown history.
Yeah.
The record they set a week ago for Monday Night Raw being the biggest Monday Night Raw gate in history, well, that lasted all of a week because the episode that took place This week for Monday Night Raw was the biggest gate, where they announced 20,248 people in attendance. And how much of a flex is it that you're out there like, hey, the guys in the back put together a video package for you, and we can't show you on the normal Titantron, Jumbotron, whatever it is, he said, because we packed so many people in here, we don't have one.
Yeah.
How much of a flex is that?
Well,
holy fuck.
They want to make the point known that they sold that building out, and,
Yeah,
they packed as many fans as they could for this celebration. It's a great video package if you haven't seen it online.
Yeah.
Yet, make sure to go check it out. The Rock came in, set up some things.
I should have looked at my heart rate during the segment because I did not know what the fuck he was going to do. I figured he was leaving because we know his filming schedule is going to ramp up here very quickly. But I was afraid of what he was going to do.
Well, he left the door open. That's the one thing that he wanted to do, but he also wanted to put Cody over on the way out the door, which is the right thing to do for the business.
Right, and I know the rumor is right now, they're setting it up for, that's the teaser, the plant for WrestleMania 41, which it could be, it couldn't be. But as we all know from the last 12 years, The Rock's filming schedule is notoriously difficult to work with. So that could be the plan in pencil, but as we like to say with professional wrestling and MMA and other things, cards subject to change.
Yeah, I don't think it will wait that long for him and Cody.
So
I think it'll be him and Roman at Mania next year.
Yeah, it could be. Could be. Roman did make a post on social media today of himself working out, saying yesterday was for morning, today is day one. So might take a little bit of time off because fuck, he's earned it. But no, I expect him to come back relatively soon.
I could imagine. I think this Friday on SmackDown we'll have a little more information about where he's going.
Could be.
I know Cody, I would assume, is moving over to that show.
You would think, but then again, as they announced during Monday Night Raw, the draft is taking place at the end of the month.
Yeah, so
I anticipate Priest is going over there.
It's going to be interesting to see how it shapes up. So they do have a couple weeks to tease some things.
Yeah.
But I think in the short term, you're going to see Cody over there on Friday.
Oh, yeah. He's going to be there this Friday.
Yeah, and that's where I think you're also going to have a debut of one Maxwell Jacob Freeman. I think they were waiting to spike it for his storyline.
Hell of a few debuts on Monday night. Ilya Dragunov was there. Roxanne Perez.
Yeah, NXT champion showcase. Woo. And they're going to be in the mix for the draft too. So that's a big move for them as well.
Ilya Dragunov versus Gunther when? That's all I need.
Oh, I think that's
fatal four-way. Ilya versus Gunther versus Sheamus versus Drew.
That'll be your match of the year.
Leave your teeth at home.
That'll be your match of the year. There's nobody going to even come close to that. But overall, I mean, Raw after Mania did set up some storylines. Jey Uso's #1 contender for Damian Priest's title.
CM Punk fucked over Drew McIntyre twice in 24 hours.
Yeah, so they're setting up a lot of things for Backlash in France. So it's good to see they're doing that, but especially with the draft looming overhead.
Yeah.
That's going to change a lot after the 26th. Definitely have to be reporting on that. But, I mean, overall, a great weekend to be a wrestling fan.
Yeah.
A lot of excitement on social media for that. I mean, Pat, final thoughts on the weekend?
Super fun weekend, start to finish. The only thing I would do is hey, folks who are in charge of the order for the Hall of Fame, definitely consider that a little more next year. That was kind of like my only knock of the weekend, was just why would you lead off with Paul Heyman? It didn't make any sense to me. But no, the weekend overall, a lot of fun. Definitely the most memorable WrestleMania I've seen live.
Yeah, easily. I mean,
and again, it's a short list, but still.
No, this one definitely has its place. It's in the conversation for greatest WrestleMania of all time. Like, the storylines paid off. The fans' excitement was there. It was just a spectacle of spectacles, and this is what you expect for being WrestleMania. Like, it's a brand for a reason, folks, and it definitely delivered.
Yeah.
So that being said, hit us up on the hashtag ODPH pod. We gave you a lot of pro wrestling to talk about for WWE. So let us know what you thought about the WrestleMania show in general, night after Raw, or night after Mania, should we say. And then obviously SmackDown has a lot of storylines looming, and that's where I think we might see one Maxwell Jacob Freeman debut, because I think they were holding off on that for a reason. But we'll see if I'm right or we'll see if I'm wrong. But definitely hit us up on that hashtag and let us know. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Do not adjust your dial. Or, well, your phone, your watch, or whatever the heck you're using to listen to the awesome podcast you're currently listening to. I am the Duke of Nerds, Tyler Mack, and I am here to tell you that being a nerd can be a bit overwhelming, especially after 30. Life moves pretty fast in our nerd culture, and if you don't take the time to notice things, you miss out. That's why I'm here. As your Duke of Nerds, I am charged with educating, enlightening, and entertaining you on all things nerdy. I do it by running the 30 to Nerdy podcast. 30 and Nerdy is a Badcast Company production and currently playing wherever you cast your pod. Follow along each episode using the hashtag 30andNerdyPod. And check out what all is going on at 30andNerdyPodcast.com. Whether it's DC, Marvel, comics, or video games, I have got you covered. So tune in now. Cheers to you, nerds.
Coming back for another segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast, and it is a historic weekend for the UFC.
Hell yeah, it is.
It is scary to think that we have arrived at UFC 300.
Feels like just yesterday we were getting together to watch UFC 200 and figuring out how the hell we're going to watch this damn thing because they stacked that one to the nines. That one took place on July 9th, 2016.
Yeah.
Which feels like yesterday.
It's crazy to think about, but it's a truly surreal moment for how well the UFC has evolved.
Yeah.
And obviously coming from its early days where it was no holds barred and really just an interesting idea about mixing in the different elements of fighting and seeing who was the best of the best, till becoming a legitimized sport and really taking it into the stratosphere of pop culture. And now, I mean, the UFC is a household name.
Yeah, I mean, the first UFC pay-per-view, UFC or card, I guess you could say, UFC 1, took place on November 12th, 1993 at the McNichols Sports Arena in Denver, Colorado in the U.S. with an announced attendance of 7,800.
Wow.
Which is just absolutely insane when you consider the fact, I'm going back to the last UFC pay-per-view, which was UFC 299. That one had an attendance of 19,165.
That's crazy. That's just utterly insane.
Uh-huh.
To think about just, where they've gone to where they are now is truly astonishing. And this weekend, like we touched upon, UFC 300 is taking place.
Yeah.
Where is it taking place from, Pad?
From the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada.
No shocker there. I mean, obviously, Vegas is Fight Town.
Yep.
And there is a lot to break down with this.
Yes, there is.
We usually don't dive into the prelims.
But I read off some of the fights on prelim, and you're like, wait, really?
Yeah, like it just hasn't sunk in that they've really stacked this, because the only storyline that they've really had going on with this is they were struggling to have a big-time main event.
Right.
And obviously there was a lot of names thrown around. Some people were not ready to fight because of various reasons. But I thought overall they put together a very, very interesting card.
This card's so insane. Jessica Andrade's on the early prelims.
Yeah, so I mean, just to put that in perspective. But let's dive into the prelims and kind of break down what we got here.
Yeah, so the first fight on the prelims, and these are taking place on ESPN and ESPN+. The first fight is in the featherweight division between Sodiq Yusuff and Diego Lopez.
So this is going to be a very solid fight between two up-and-coming featherweights, in my opinion.
Yes, Sodiq Yusuff, 30 years old. His opponent, Diego Lopez, 29 years old. For Yusuff, in 16 professional matches, has a record of 13 wins, 3 losses. Currently on a one-fight losing streak, having lost to Edson Barbosa in his last fight. That was back in October of last year. Prior to that, 2-fight win streak. He beat Don Chianis via guillotine choke submission. That was back in October of 22. And he beat Alex Sikaris via unanimous decision in March of 2022. For his opponent, Diego Lopez, 29 professional matches, 23 wins, 6 losses, currently on a 2-fight winning streak, beating Pat Sabatini via knockout at November of last year, and beating Gavin Tucker via armbar submission in August of last year.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fun one to kick off the prelims. I do like Sodiq in this one.
Yeah.
I really think that this... It's hard to say how this is going to finish. I think they're both very, very solid, but I will say Sodiq gets this, and I'll say by submission in the third.
I'm going to say Diego Lopez by a split decision.
Okay.
I think it's going to be real close.
I do too.
Next up, and yes, folks, this is in the the prelim card, is the women's bantamweight division matchup between Holly Holm and making her UFC debut, Kayla Harrison.
Kayla Harrison, it was one of the most sought-after free agents in all of MMA.
Uh-huh.
And if you have not seen her fight, get ready.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
Yes. So this is a great opening bout for her, taking on Holly Holm, former champion, and really kind of test to see if Kayla is the real deal or not.
Uh-huh.
I mean, Kayla is 16-1
Yeah.
No joke about that.
Kayla's 16-1, two-time Olympic gold medalist, one-time World Championship gold medalist, 2 gold medals in the Pan American Games, 2 gold medals in the Pan American Championships, 2 gold medals in the World Masters, the IJF Grand Slam, 3 gold medals, the IJF Grand Prix, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 gold medals there. World Junior Championships, she won a gold medal. All this girl does is collect titles like she's Ric Flair. Holy hell. And then you look at her judo record, because you alluded to her mixed martial arts record. Oh, by the way, she's got a judo record of 45-7.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she is going to go on there and wanting to put on a show. Holly Holm is no joke, though. Like we say, former champion, elite striker.
Yeah. Fought a who's who of the women's division.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely. So
Valentina Shevchenko, Misha Tate, Chris Cyborg, some person named Ronda Rousey. If you've ever heard of her, maybe have.
She's the one that took out Ronda way back when Ronda was unstoppable.
The Gold Glove boxing champ decided to, the Ronda Rousey decided to box the Gold Glove boxing champ.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And found out very, very quickly.
Yeah.
You made a mistake.
Uh-huh.
Kayla will not do that in this fight.
No, God, no.
Kayla's not going to stand with her. Kayla's going to want to get this to the ground immediately.
Yeah.
I would say I'm not doubting a first-round sub.
I could see it.
I mean, it's nothing against Holly Holm, but
Yeah.
Kayla is just an elite judo fighter.
Yeah, she is. I'm going to say second-round knockout.
I mean,
it's going to be a close, almost knockout in the first, but Holly's going to escape by the skin of her teeth, and then it's going to come into the second round. A little bit of nerves. Oh my God, she almost got to me, and she's going to get to her.
yeah, no, I think it could happen, but like I say, it's going to get crazy with this one. This is going to be a real fun one. Like I say, it's prelims. Like, this is insane.
This is on prelims. It's nuts. Then in the next fight up is in the featherweight division, where you've got Calvin Kattar taking on Aljamain Sterling.
Sterling is stepping up to the featherweight division after being bantamweight champion. This is going to be a real test for him.
Uh-huh.
It's going to be a real test. Qatar is very solid, and I think if Sterling is going to want to make a run in the featherweight division, he's got a perfect opponent to step in front of him. However, though, I like Qatar in this one.
So in 30 professional matches, Qatar has a record of 23 wins, 7 losses, currently on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost to Arnold Allen in his last fight via knee injury. That was in October of 2022. Then he lost to Josh Emmett via split decision. That was in June of 2022. His last win was against Giga Chikadze. That was in January of 2022. For Aljamain Sterling, in 27 professional matches, has a record of 23 wins, 4 losses, currently on a 1-fight losing streak. Lost to Sean O'Malley via TKO. That was in August of last year. Prior to that was on a good goddamn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9-fight winning streak, beating the likes of Henry Cejudo, TJ Dillashaw, Peter Yan twice, Corey Sandhagen, Pedro Munoz, Jimmy Rivera, Cordy Stammen, and Brett Johns. Should also note this is not Sterling's first fight in his professional career in the featherweight division. He did make his featherweight debut way back in July of 2011 for a federation called CFFC. This was CFFC 10. Black Eye. He won that fight. Knocked his opponent out at 4 minutes and 58 seconds of the first round. Promptly went back to bantamweight and then hasn't fought in featherweight since. So he's got experience at featherweight, albeit for one match.
For one match, yeah.
For one match.
That's a little crazy, but it's very, very interesting to see him move up.
Yeah.
They have, him and Merab are teammates, and I know Merab is ready to finally get at that title shot he's been waiting for. So Sterling moving up, that's an interesting play that he's doing there. I don't know how he's going to do. I think he's going to struggle. I think that he's a good size for 135.
Yeah.
For 145, I just don't know.
He'll handle himself for the better part of the fight, but it'll start to slowly come apart, and I think it's going to ultimately be Qatar at the end winning.
Yeah, but it'll still be a fun fight to watch.
Oh, yeah.
Sterling, like I say, he got on that win streak that he couldn't be denied. I know that his title reign is very asterisk.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see if he can make a run for the featherweight belt here.
Then, I guess you could call it the main event of the prelims. The final fight of the prelims is in the light heavyweight division, and it is Jiri Prochazka taking on Alexander Rakic.
This is insane that this is on the prelims.
Oh, yeah,
This is absolutely insane. Jiri Prochazka, I would not doubt, just going completely crazy in this one. He is going to want to make a statement.
He's got the scariest record I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Talk about it.
So Jiri, in 34 professional matches, has a record of 29 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw. Of those 29 wins, 1's by decision, 3 are by submission, and if you're good at math, 25 are by knockout.
Yeah.
Currently on a 1-fight losing streak. Lost his last fight to Alexander Pereira. He got knocked out. That was in November of last year. Prior to that was on, good fucking God, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 fight win streak. Beating the likes of Dominic Reyes, Glover Teixeira, Volkan Ozdemir, just to name a few. On the other side, you've got his opponent, Alexander Rakic, who is in 17 professional matches, a record of 14 wins, 3 losses, currently on a 1-fight losing streak. Lost to Jan Blachowicz because of a knee injury. That was back in May of 2022. Prior to that, was on a 2-fight winning streak. Beat Thiago Santos via unanimous decision in March of 2021, and beat Anthony Smith via unanimous decision in August of 2020.
I mean, yeah, Rakic is no joke either.
Yeah.
But he's no Yuri.
No, he's not. And I'm going to say it's good because, listen, that's a lot of octagon rust, ring rust, to have your first fight since 2022. So well over 2.5 years, or 2 years at this point. So it's a lot. And as we've said before on the show, it's one thing to spar. It's another thing to like have practice sessions against a guy. It ain't the same as going up against a guy when you're trying to win or trying to move up in the rankings or whatever it is. Jiri's been fighting. Jiri admittedly hasn't fought since, November, but he's still been fighting fairly consistently, and that dude's scary.
He's very scary, and I know that he has a lot of emotion behind this because of the main event.
Oh, yeah.
So, I say, he's going to want to make a statement.
Got his eye on it.
So, I think this is going to be a very, very short fight.
If this were pro wrestling, whoever wins at the end of the night, the camera would then cut to like a skybox in the arena, and it'd be Jiri sitting there.
I'm not doubting Jiri comes in the cage.
I could see it. But I'm saying if this were pro wrestling, it'd cut to Jiri sitting in a skybox somewhere, like sipping on a beverage.
Yeah.
Just with a grin on his face.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait to see how that goes, but I mean, that's a stacked prelim. Mm-hmm. Note prelim.
Yeah.
So let's get into the main card.
So in the main card, leading off in the middleweight division, you've got Bo Nickal taking on Cody Brundage.
Well, this is going to be a real test for Nickal.
Uh-huh.
He has come in there and made a lot of noise, obviously being undefeated, talking a lot of trash.
Yeah.
So we'll have to kind of wait to see what he can do. I mean, he has been very short work in the cage.
Yeah.
So Brundage is going to give him a good challenge.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you really say? I think this is going to be Nickal.
Just a little bit of info background on Bo Nickal. He is a 28-year-old out of Rifle, Colorado, wrestled collegiately at Penn State, did a fair number of things. The under-23 World Championships in 2019, he won a gold medal. For U.S. National Championships that same year, he also won a gold medal. Won 3 gold medals at the NCAA Division I National Championships in 17, 18, and 19. 2016, he got second place. And then in the Big Ten Championships, he got first place in 3 times. For his and then for his NCAA record, he is 120-3, which is fucking ridiculous because it's fucking wrestling. Freestyle wrestling record, he has got a record of 28-10. For mixed martial arts, however, 5 professional matches, 5 wins, no losses. 2 by knockout, 1 by submission. So this dude clearly, and all of them, note you, are fucking the first round.
Right.
The longest fight of his professional MMA career, 2 minutes and 54 seconds against Jamie Pickett. That was in March of 2023.
Yeah.
Every other fight, about 1 minute or less. Dude fights like he's got somewhere to be.
Well, like I say, I think Bo's going to really want to come in there and get done with this quick. He's, they say, Brundage is going to give him a challenge, but I think Bo takes this first round. Yeah,
Brundage, 15 professional matches, 10 wins, 5 losses, 2-fight winning streak, knockout win his last fight in December of last year. Fight before that was a DQ win for an illegal elbow. That was in September of last year. against Jacob Malkoon. Yeah, no, I'm going to go Bo. This dude's just got a lot going, and he seems like he's a freight train with a head of steam and cannot be stopped.
Agreed.
Next up is in the lightweight division with Charles Oliveira taking on Arman Tsoukaran.
Now, one thing we got to remember with this is the winner gets Makhachev.
Yep.
So there is title implications with this. Arman is ranked number 4 in the division. Charles Oliveira is ranked number 1.
Ooh.
So this is going to be a true test of where Charles Oliveira is right now. I mean, obviously, the former champion did not have a great fight when he lost the belt.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I know he's bounced back, but still, he's going to want to put on a performance to really ensure that he has that title shot.
Looking at the records for Charles Oliveira, 44 professional matches, 34 wins, 9 losses, 1 no contest, 1 fight winning streak for Oliveira, beating Beneil Dariush via TKO in June of last year. As you alluded to, lost the vacant matchup for the vacant lightweight championship against one Islam Makhachev. Was an arm triangle choke submission in the second round. Prior to that, was on a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 fight winning streak, beating the likes of Clay Guida, beating the likes of Jim Miller, beating the likes of Kevin Lee, beating some dude named Tony Ferguson, beating some dude named Michael Chandler, beating some dude named Dustin Poirier, and Justin Gaethje, in case you've never heard of him. Then, for his opponent, Arman, in 24 professional matches, record of 21 wins, 3 losses, currently on a 3-fight winning streak, beat Beneil Dariush via knockout in his last fight. That was in December of last year. Knocked out Joaquim Silva in June of 2023, and then won a unanimous decision bout against Damir Ismagulov in December of 2022. His last loss was to Matsutsu Gamrot. That was in June of 2022. So, yeah, a little bit of history with going with these guys. I'm going to say it's going to be Oliveira. He's going to make his way back and get another crack at Makhachev.
Yeah, Oliveira, every time you write him off, he's ready to go.
This is true.
So I think even though Arman is going to give him all he can handle,
Uh-huh.
I could see this going into that third round, and this is where I think Oliveira slides in a submission somewhere.
Okay.
I don't think he's going to want to stand with him too much.
Probably not.
I think obviously Oliveira is a submission expert.
Yeah.
I think he's going to want to end it that way, and I think he's going to want to just be ready for Makhachev because that's the big money fight waiting to happen. But he needs to have a better performance. I don't know what happened during that first time they fought, but I mean he did not look like Oliveira.
No.
So we'll have to wait and see.
Next up is a lightweight division matchup, and this is for the symbolic BMF title. Yeah. Don't even ask me who's champion. I don't even know. But you got Justin Gaethje taking on Max Holloway. So for Justin Gaethje, in 29 professional matches, has a record of 25 wins, 4 losses, currently on a 2-fight winning streak, beating Dustin Poirier via knockout. That was in July of last year. Oh, hey, Gaethje's the BMF title holder. Okay. Then he beat Rafael Fiziev via majority decision in March of 2023. Last loss came to one Charles Oliveira, as we alluded to. That was in May of 2022. For Max Holloway, currently on a 2-fight winning streak, beating the likes of Jung Chan Sung via knockout. That was in August of 2023. That would be one Korean Zombie. Then he beat Arnold Allen via unanimous decision in April of 2023. Last loss came against Alexander Volkanovski. That was in July of 2022.
Yeah, this one, the BMF title doesn't mean anything.
I mean, I don't even think lineally either of these guys are the title holder. I looked it up one time. I forget who it is, but it's not either of these guys.
No, I mean, I think
is what it is.
I think it's technically Jorge Masvidal.
I think so.
But at the end of the day, I mean, the title was meant for, I don't want to say joke purposes, but I
mean, if they sold it a la WWE, I could understand it.
Sure.
But I don't even know if they do.
No, but I mean, I think the one thing that we can guarantee with this one is there's going to be a lot of striking. There's not going to be a lot of grappling with this one. Albeit, though, there is one asterisk that I'm going to put up here. This is a lightweight, correct?
Yes.
The last time Max Holloway fought up at 155, he did not look good.
This is true.
He is a very, very small 155. Gaethje is a very big 155. And if you're going to throw some hands, Max will outpoint him. Gaethje will knock him out.
Yeah.
And I'm a big Max Holloway fan too. I think he's king of the featherweights. I'd love to see him just go back down. But this one, I mean, it'll be a fun fight, but this is going to be Gaethje all day. I'm sorry.
Yeah, probably. Who knows? We'll see.
I mean, this could be. I'm not saying he's going to knock him out, but I think he'll get the W one way or another here.
Right. Then in the co-main event of the evening, this is for the UFC Women's Strawweight Championship. You've got Zhang Weili defending her belt against Yan Xiaonan.
I love this fight.
This should be fireworks.
This is going to be amazing.
Oh.
Honestly, this is one of my favorite fights of the year thus far that they've announced. I mean, both fighters can go. Like I can't even pick a winner. Like that's how good both fighters are.
So let me give you the records. I'll go with the champ. Zhang Weili in 27 professional matches has a record of 24 wins, only 3 losses. Currently on a 3-fight winning streak, beating Amanda Lemos via unanimous decision in August of last year. Beat Carla Esparza with a rear naked choke submission in November of 2022. Beat Joanna Jędrzejczyk with a spinning back fist knockout. That was in June of 2022. Prior to that was on a 2-fight losing streak. Lost back-to-back fights against Thug Rose Namajunas. The first fight was a knockout loss. That was at UFC 261 in April of 2021. Came back November that same year. This was at 268, where she lost via split decision. For her opponent, Yan Xiaonan, in 21 professional matches, 17 wins, 3 losses, 1 no contest, currently on a 2-fight winning streak, knocking out Jessica Andrade in her last fight. That was in May of last year, and then beating Mackenzie Dern via majority decision. That was in October of 2022. Last loss came to Marina Rodriguez via split decision in March of 2022.
Yeah. So I would say both fighters are ready to go.
Uh-huh.
I hate trying to pick this.
You need a coin?
I should, but you know what? I'm gonna take Weili.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go the same.
Just because.
She just seems to be on a whole different level than anybody else in that division.
Yeah, completely.
Then in the main event, the one we're all here for, this is for the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship, and you've got the champ Alexander Pereira defending his belt against Jamal Hill.
This one is a very, very interesting fight. Alex Pereira has arguably the most decorated career for the less amount of fights in mixed martial arts history.
I'm looking at the names, and yeah, I'd have to agree.
Yeah.
Fuck.
And standing across from him is Jamal Hill, who, former champion, had to vacate the title because of injury, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And now you put both of them together for the light heavyweight title.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to get fireworks.
Yeah.
That's the easiest way to describe this. And, I mean, looking at the records pad.
Yeah, so Alex Pereira in 11 professional matches has a record of 9 wins, 2 losses, currently on a 2-fight winning streak. Beat Jiri Prochazka via TKO in November of last year. Beat Jan Blachowicz via split decision in July of last year. Last loss was to Israel Adesanya, who knocked him out in April of 2023. But, hey, they split the series so far because he knocked out Israel.
Yeah.
That was in November 2022. He's also beat Sean Strickland, Bruno Silva, and Andreas Michailidis. For Jamal Hill in 14 professional matches, has a record of 12 wins, 1 loss, 1 no contest. Currently on a 4-fight winning streak, beating the likes of Glover Teixeira via unanimous decision in his last fight. That was January of last year. Knocked out Thiago Santos in August of 2022. Knocked out Johnny Walker. That was in February of 2022. Knocked out Jamie Crew in December of 2021. His last loss was a knockout loss to Paul Craig. That was in June of 2021. Also should note he beat Ovin St. Peru way back in December of 2020. So this one should be real good.
This is going to be a striking fest.
Yes.
And I don't doubt Pereira.
No, I don't either.
Listen, Pereira's got ridiculously insane power.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know where he draws it from, but I could see him knocking out Hill in the 4th.
I do too, because let's face it, I mean, ever since John Jones left the light heavyweight division, you know, the division's kind of gotten overlooked a little bit, where it's like it used to be the division with the most fighters, and it was stacked top to bottom, and you read up to like fighter number 11 or 12 in the rankings, and you go, holy fuck, like that's a lot of dudes. And it's kind of been like a hot potato belt that's been getting passed around a little bit, like, oh, I don't want it, you have it. You know, so I think Pereira's going to want to prove that, like, hey, listen, just because, you know, the guy you're used to isn't here anymore doesn't mean we're a bunch of slouches. Let me show you what I got.
Yeah. So This should be a worthy main event.
Yeah, it should.
And like I say, I like Pereira in the fourth.
I do too. I'm going to say early fifth.
Okay.
I'm going to say submission.
Whew, that would be something. We'll have to wait and see, but the UFC 300 has got a lot of headlines going into it. Like we said, we kind of went overdrive with this, and rightfully so, because there's a lot of fights happening here.
Yeah.
So definitely hit us up on that hashtag ODPH pod. What's your predictions for UFC 300? Let's talk about it, shall we? But first, we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
This is Tom from Tom Joe Lou,
This is Matt from Sidemen Sounds.
and you're listening to ODPH Podcast.
Wanna go where no one knows my name, to the desert, the oceans, or the plains. 'Cause I wanna go.
Coming back for the final segment on this edition of the ODPH podcast. Pad, what you got?
Got a couple things to talk about. The first of which is obviously being the local minute and looking at the standings for the Federal Prospects Hockey League. That is, of course, the league our local Binghamton Black Bears play in the Empire Division. Another week, Binghamton still in first place.
Let's ride.
In 54 games played, the Black Bears have a record of 34 wins in regulation, 10 losses, and then 7 losses in either overtime or shootout, 1 overtime win, 2 shootout wins. They have a total of 115 points. They're ahead of Motor City, who has 91 points, Danbury, who has 89 points, Elmira is in 4th with 60 points, and Watertown is in last with 58 points. So obviously playoffs are coming soon. Binghamton has won the division. They've secured a playoff spot along with Motor City and Danbury from the Empire Division. Over in the Continental Division, you've got Columbus, Carolina, Port Huron, and Mississippi have all clinched playoff spots. The bracket's starting to fill out a little bit. We know Columbus is taking on Mississippi in the first round, the quarterfinals. It's a best-of-3 series. And then you've got Carolina taking on Port Huron in the first round. Don't know who Binghamton's playing yet. It's still to be determined on the Black Bears website, so we'll definitely keep an eye out on that and tell you who they're going to play when that gets announced. But for the remaining games they have this season, looking at their games from last week, they played a trio of games over the weekend. The first 2 of which were home games. Friday, April 5th, 7 o'clock Eastern, they played the Danbury Hat Tricks, where they won by the final score of 2-1. Came back on Saturday against the same Danbury Hat Tricks and won by the final score of 7-1. Sunday was a road game. They went out of town to play the Watertown Wolves, where they won in overtime by the final score of 3-2. A couple of games this weekend, one out of town, one in town. Friday, April 12th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern, they're out of town playing the Danbury Hat Tricks. Then they come back home Saturday, April 13th at 7 o'clock Eastern. They're playing the Elmira River Sharks. So for more tickets, information, and all that good stuff, BinghamtonBlackBears.com.
It's getting excited. Playoff time.
Yeah, playoff hockey coming soon. Also, Binghamton Rumble Ponies baseball started this past week. A little early in the standings, but they're currently in, 4th place in the Eastern League Northeast Division. They're behind Somerset, who's the Yankees affiliate, New Hampshire, the Toronto affiliate, and Hartford is the Colorado affiliate. All ahead of them. They're ahead of the Phillies and Red Sox, though. That's all that matters for us here in the Binghamton area.
Very, very true.
But looking at their series from this past weekend, where they had a 3-game homestand against New Hampshire, lost the opener 5-2, came back on Saturday and won by 9-3, and then lost on Sunday by the final score of 8-4. On the road this weekend playing Erie, and then they're back home on Tuesday the 16th to play Reading. So for more tickets, information, all that good stuff, bingrp.com. Now we got to talk a little basketball.
Yes.
Yeah.
The madness is over.
Yes.
And we have to crown the men's and women's champions of basketball.
Yeah, so the men's national championship took place on Monday night, where you had the Yukon Huskies taking on the Purdue Boilermakers, and the Huskies emerged victorious, becoming the first team in a couple of years, not super long, but a couple of years, to repeat as national champions, winning by the final score of 75-60.
Well, UConn really set a high pace. I mean, obviously they're number 1 seed overall going into the tourney, and they never looked back. I mean, they've only had a couple games that they looked a little bit defeatable.
Sure.
But this was going to be their biggest test with Houston out of the bracket.
Yeah.
And Purdue just ran out of steam.
Yeah, I know. I mean, Purdue's starters really got shut down. I mean, you look at the box score. Their one forward, 4 points. Edey had 37.
Yeah, he did all he could.
One of their guards had 12. Another guard, Lawyer, had none. Their other guard, Jones, had 5. And then you flip it to the other side with the Yukon Huskies, where all but one of their starters was in double digits. Kind of hard to stop when you got that going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, hey, congratulations to the Yukon Huskies. I know the super early. Honestly, I don't think rankings for any college sport should come out the day after the fucking national championship.
Yeah, but people need stuff to talk about. I agree. No, they should never come out.
That's always felt asinine to me, that like, especially college football, where like, we just had the national, like, you just had the national championship game, Michigan beat whoever the fuck it was they beat, and by 7 a.m. the next morning, oh, hey, here's the first preseason college football rankings. So can't you just let the team have their victory period? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But nonetheless, UConn's number one, surprise to no one. They're defending champs. Then on the women's side, we got crowned the women's national champion on Friday. I know this got a monster rating. It was like 18 million people watched this game.
That was awesome.
That was awesome to see. But winning by the final score of 87-75 was the South Carolina Gamecocks. Congratulations to them. That team is impressive as all hell.
Yeah, no, what Dawn Staley's done down there, just amazing. And
I saw this stat, and I think it's increased by 1, obviously now since they won this game. But in the last 3 years, I think Dawn Staley's like 100 and something and 3.
Yeah,
it's insane.
No, the program they built down there is just truly remarkable.
Yeah, it is.
And I love the post game speech that she gave.
Yeah,
because she put over Caitlin Clark.
Yep,
and really did a very classy way, of signing her off into her next endeavors.
Yeah.
And also putting over the program too, and just made it to really a special moment. So it was awesome to see.
And then a little bit of college basketball news, because shocking, I think everyone, I don't know anybody who saw this coming. John Calipari is leaving the University of Kentucky to go coach at Arkansas. So for reading from an article on ESPN.com, it says, quote, John Calipari said Tuesday that Kentucky's men's basketball program, quote, probably needs to hear another voice as he inches closer to leaving Lexington to become the next head coach at Arkansas. Quote, it's been a beautiful time for us. This is a dream job. It was my dream job, close quote, Calipari said in a video posted to social media. Anybody in our profession looks at the University of Kentucky in basketball and said, that is the bluest of blue. The last few weeks, we've come to realize that this program probably needs to hear another voice, and the fans need to hear another voice. We've loved it here, but we think it's time for us to step away completely from the program, close quote. Also, this just in, Drake has entered the transfer portal.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Calipari, listen.
Love him or hate him, he's done a lot for that program.
He's left his mark there.
Yeah.
I will say that. One national championship, I believe.
Yes, with an absolutely loaded team.
Yeah, every year they've always had a stacked team.
Yeah,
they've only brought in 1 chip. I mean, it's an insane stat to think about with the talent that's come through there.
Yeah,
so
talent only gets you so far,
right? And that's the one thing that is literally, in my opinion, got them out the door.
Yeah.
That the talent is there, but they're not a team.
Right. Well, and I think that's part of it. Like, I think he wants to win championships, because find me a coach who says they don't, and put him on a lie detector test. But I think that's the issue, is you've got so many guys who look at Kentucky like football players look at, say, an LSU or an Alabama or like a Michigan or whatever. That's like, hey, I'm just going to use them to increase my draft stock and get on to the next level. Mm-hmm. Where, like, okay, that's great and all, but Calipari wants to win chips, baby.
Well, the thing about him is he wants to win, and I think being at Kentucky, there's a standard that is very, very high.
That is true.
And if you don't win every year, listen, there's going to be problems. I mean, it is what it is there.
Yeah.
That's the history of their basketball.
Also crazy. Calipari's been there for fucking 15 years.
It is wild.
I did not realize that. I didn't think it was that long.
Oh, no. He'd been there quite some time. I knew that. I mean, obviously, wherever he's gone.
And it sounded like Arkansas.
Yeah, like I said, well, that's where he's going now is Arkansas. He's going to be the new head coach there.
Yep.
Wherever he's gone with the program, like, listen, he's left an impression. That's all I will say about that. So it'll be interesting to see who they get to replace him.
Yeah.
At Kentucky, I know that Coach Hurley from UConn has already turned that down.
Right.
So we'll have to wait to see if there's, I wouldn't doubt like seeing a pro coach.
I can see it.
Leave and go.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say I don't have like a pick, but I could see somebody.
Stan Van Gundy, calling it now.
Maybe. And then obviously we're talking basketball. The NBA is in its final week, so let's cap off this show talking about like who's going where and doing what.
Yes, looking at the Eastern Conference standings, obviously Boston is in the driver's seat. Listen, they've won the fucking conference or got the number 1 seed in the conference locked up handedly. because they are sitting in first place at 62-16. Milwaukee's in second place. They have also clinched a playoff berth. They're sitting in second place with a record
They're
of 40.
falling apart.
Hey, they got a playoff berth. That's all that matters. 47-31. Orlando's number 3 with a record of 46-32. Knicks are right there in fourth place, also 46-32. Cavs are at the 5, 46-33. Pacers are at the 6 at 45-34. Then you got the 76ers in 7th with 44-35. Miami Heat are in the 8th spot with a record of 43-35. Chicago Bulls are in the 9th spot. They have clinched a play-in berth. They have a record of 37-41. And the Atlanta Hawks are in the 10th spot. They have also clinched a play-in berth. They are 36-42.
So that's going to be an interesting scenario to play out.
We're also coming up upon one of my more dreaded parts of the year. I have to figure out how the fuck to read the play-in tournament bracket.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
If you've read it, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's not fun.
No, it's not.
So we will give you our apologies in advance. We'll
Yeah.
probably mess that up as we read it.
Yep.
The only thing we need to say is the Knicks are in fourth.
Yeah, they're holding steady.
They're holding steady. I know everybody said the sky is falling because Julius Randle is out.
Took the words out of my mouth.
Listen, the sky is just fine.
Clearly.
Everybody was ready to run him out of New York at the beginning of the season.
So they're 5-5 in their last 10 on a one-game winning
Yeah.
streak.
As long as OG comes back okay, we're fine.
Yeah.
We'll be okay. We got Brunson. That's all we need.
This is true. Then in the Western Conference, you've got the Minnesota Timberwolves are in the first spot. They've clinched a playoff berth. They're 54-24. Denver Nuggets are in second place, also clinched a playoff berth with the same record. Oklahoma City Thunder in third, also clinched a playoff berth. They're 53-25. LA Clippers are at the 4 with 50-28 record. Dallas Mavericks right there at the 5. They're 48-30. Phoenix Suns are at number 6. They are 46-32. New Orleans Pelicans are right there at 7. Hey, good for them. 46-32. Sacramento Kings are at the 8th with 45-33. LA Lakers hanging around there, 45-34. And then you've got the Golden State Warriors, 43-35.
What a weird season to say that LA and Golden State are barely in the playoffs.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when LeBron's 120 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
He can only do so much.
Yeah, and it shows the shift in the power structure in basketball, especially the Western Conference. I mean, you think about the teams that should be, the top 5.
Yeah.
And clearly there's a very big change. I mean, one of it is predicted. That's Denver.
Yeah.
But Minnesota?
Yeah.
And OKC with all that young talent, too. Like, that's the team I'd be most worried about playing in the playoffs.
Well, OKC having more picks than they have players the next 12 years helps.
But that's going to be a wild scenario to see how that shapes up. Going into the final week, obviously, this is going to be very impactful for any teams that have already clinched playoffs.
Yep.
You're going to see some starters sitting. I think Boston would be smart to do that.
Boston's got everything locked up at this point, so they're gonna go real easy on their players.
Yeah, and we'll just have to wait to see how the rest of the East plays out. So hopefully nobody gets injured.
This is true,
and we're gonna have some great basketball to look forward to in the upcoming week. So I'm excited for that. Playoff hockey is starting. So the only thing anybody needs to know is the Rangers are going to be doing just fine.
Yeah, they are.
So we'll be talking about that a little more next time. And that all being said, I mean, for anything and everything that is the ODPH, you can find it at odphpodcast.com. That's it for sports this week. So for the one and only Padawan J,
fuck the Astros.
I'm your host, Ken M. Thank you as always for listening to the ODPH podcast. We'll see you next time.
It's such waste of time swiping left and swiping right on people you could know. 'Cause anyone who's worth a damn be worth way more than a picture could ever show. You could find the right light, find the right angle, and never find your soul. And it can feel like a losing battle, and this plot is full of holes. This modern way of finding love just makes me feel so alone. And I can't be the only one sick of staring at my phone. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me. We don't have to float alone on the open sea. Don't know that I believe in the old time fable. Everyone has just one true love. All I my nose, you're across this table, and you're all I'm thinking of. So look up, talk to me, a better way to spend our energy. Just look up, talk to me, we don't have to float alone on the open sea. Talk to me. Talk to me. It's such waste of time, swiping left and swiping right on people you could know.